Hello and welcome to the FTB live show. Looking forward to today. We've got a real exciting one. We've got a special one featuring Jason Matthews. Jason was a former Weymouth goalkeeper and manager. There's many other clubs. We're looking to answer some questions and grilling him today, that's for sure. Jason, how are you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Carly.
Good.
Thanks for inviting me on the show.
No, thank you for coming on board. It's a pleasure to have you here. But we're not alone. We're also joined by Carl Bartlett, Adam Morris, two members of the FTB group. How are you, boys?
Yeah, good. Thank you, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Happy that I'm in the warm at the moment and not out in that rain and horrible weather.
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Looking forward to this, though.
Good. And I know you're secretly both Weymouth fans, aren't you?
No secret, mate. No secret.
I love that. So you've got plenty of questions, and I can imagine that you're excited for some of the stories when we start talking about Weymouth.
Oh, definitely.
You got to be careful, Jason. They've been going on about this all week with me, telling me everything about Weymouth. So, and I'll be honest with you. When I was 16, I went on loan to Hayes and Yeading, and I went to Weymouth, and I had an absolutely awful game. Gave away a penalty. So Weymouth isn't my favourite place.
No. I bet you felt it was like the end of the earth when you got there as well. The travel there.
Yeah, I did a little. I think I'm going to blame that for why I had such a bad game. I'm going to use that excuse. That's what I'm going to use.
It's always good when you get there, but the journey was always miserable. Even living in Bath, it was always a miserable one. There's no real straight road to Weymouth, but it's all, people always liked it when they got there.
Yeah, it was definitely friendly, that's for sure. It was friendly. They was probably more happy with me, like I said, because we lost that game and I gave away the penalty. So I can imagine they were very friendly because of that. The fans say that sometimes they call it like the Barbara Windsor stand one side because there was always full of knockers and stuff like that, basically. Brilliant. I love that.
The fans for me there were unreal, to be fair. Even when it wasn't going quite my way when I was a manager, they always stuck with me. Obviously a few people voiced their opinions towards the end, which I took on the chin, and we move on. But only fond memories for me at Weymouth. Like I said, a magnificent club, and to get for my former assistant Mark Mosley to give them 2 promotions and then move to Southend United was proof in the pudding, and something I'm quite proud of, really, because it was built on the foundations that me and my management team put in place. Obviously, in fair play, taking nothing away from Mark Mosley, done an unbelievable job. And took it forward, really. Probably had the time to do it, just those little contacts, because he was assistant manager of Bournemouth under-23s, which give him some fantastic loans, and he's done very well to take the club where they are now. And it would just be nice to see them basically hold their own this season. Even if they stayed up for me this season, would be an unbelievable achievement in the National League, because it's such a most teams there are full time, as you know, and it would just be an unbelievable achievement for Weymouth to stay up this season.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you can tell, obviously, you're very passionate about them and you've got some massive fond memories there. So really looking forward to kind of delving deeper into your relationship with Weymouth and hearing a lot more about it. But before we really kick on, I need to shout out our sponsors. Obviously, we're sponsored by Mossbro. So we want to give a massive thank you to them. Unfortunately, the 15% offer isn't working at the moment just because we're in lockdown. But once lockdown's back, make sure you catch the code. And you can get your 15% off and get ready to get back to work after we're back out of lockdown. So a massive thank you to Moss Bros. And also Ultimate Football Network. Want to give a massive shout out to them, doing some fantastic stuff within the football industry. A massive bit of work they're doing in terms of bringing football professionals together, linking people together and giving people some fantastic opportunities. So a massive shout out to Ultimate Football Networks as well. Make sure you follow them on the socials. I think one of their socials on Twitter at the moment is at the Scout Network. Make sure you give them a follow. Make sure you keep up to date with what's going on there. So let's crack on and get going with this show. So Jason, let's kick it off. Just briefly tell us kind of how where did your playing career start, and how did the early years of your playing career kind of kick off?
Basically, I was obviously a schoolboy at Bristol Rovers. Basically, being a keeper, was released at 16 because of my size. And then basically went down the non-league route, really. Started off in a few tool station clubs, which is step 6, basically. And basically worked my way up. Obviously had a couple of good seasons at that level. Made the FA Vals semi-final twice, once with Mangotsfield and once with Taunton. And then basically got spotted, moved to Salisbury City in the Southern Premier League, as it was then, which would have been step 3. And then basically my dream move was my dream job was always to be a professional footballer. And basically I moved to Nuneaton Borough from Salisbury, who Nuneaton won the league, which would have made me into step 1. Basically the national conference. I played all pre-season and out of the blue, Exeter City had seen me play for Taunton and bought me from Nuneaton without me actually playing a competitive game for Nuneaton. So a little bit of a random one. 15 minutes of fame came that season when I played for Exeter. We got to the 3rd round of the FA Cup. We had a really experienced goalkeeper, Stuart Naylor, who was brilliant with me, taught me a lot, and was just generally really good with me as my first year as a pro. And basically got knocked out against Everton in the 3rd round dead on half time. And basically I come on at half time and kept a clean sheet. We got a draw and went and played the replay at Goodison Park. So that gave me my little 15 minutes of fame.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic. And what kind of what time was that? So what year was that?
That would have been 99, 2000. You probably weren't born, some of you.
No, I definitely was. Don't worry.
I was definitely born.
So and then from there, basically after the FA Cup game, the manager had the sack, Peter Fox. A new manager come in, and although he played me quite a lot and offered me a deal, when it come to the thing, because they had financial troubles, I actually ended up getting released really, really late, and that pushed me back in the non-league system. Really, went and played a season in the League of Wales, which was quite an eye opener, to be fair. And we played for Aberystwyth, in which we made the Intertoto Cup, which would have been 2001.
And how did you find the Welsh League? What was the biggest difference for you?
I would say that it just it is a part-time league, very serious, and it was a season that I really enjoyed. I was really well looked after by Aberystwyth. Put in a hotel for argument's sake. Was paid similar money to what I was getting at Exeter, but it was only part-time, really. And being the age that I was, I was pretty desperate to come back and play in the English leagues, and that's when it took me to Salisbury's manager. Then took the Weymouth job, and it gave me a route back into obviously football back in England. The manager had the sack at Aberystwyth that season. I must have been a jinx in those couple of years, and basically. That took me back to Weymouth with the international clearance, and then basically after a season of struggle again at Weymouth, we just managed to stay up. That would have been 2002, 2003. Ian Ridley, done Tony Adams' book, and he was the lead sports journalist in the Observer. He basically took over Weymouth because he lives in Weymouth. Basically transformed the club, brought Steve Claridge in from Millwall, because he was actually playing for Millwall, brought him in as player manager, and it basically transformed the club from there. basically Ian took it, really put the club back on the map. Tightened the ground up and done all sorts. We had the playing surface was amazing from the first season I was there. So the second season, everything was moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And Ian basically probably didn't have the finance himself, and brought in a guy that financed it, Ian Martin Harrison. He was an unbelievable chap and financed it how he wanted. Unfortunately for Steve Claridge, we had a little bit of an indifferent run of results, and the backer lost faith with him, and obviously relieved him of his duties, which was a shame really, because we did have a really good side, and he brought in obviously Gary Hill, which was obviously from Dagenham. Gary basically transformed it completely. We went on an unbelievable run with Gary. Just missed out on the playoffs that season. I think we won 8 out of 10 in his first 10 games to the end of the season. Missed out on the playoffs by a point, and then the following season went on. The backer put the club full time, and Gary put together an unbelievable team, and we went on to win the Conference South. That was
a fantastic achievement.
So some unreal times, along with some good cup runs. We drew with Nottingham Forest in the first round, and got a game on Sky because they were doing the FA Cup at the time at home. So that was really good as well. And like I said, just an all-round unbelievable season. And then moving into Gary's second season at the club, we were going well in the actual main conference. I think we were third at the time. We were all told that we were going on a mid-season break to La Manga, where a lot of clubs went, a warm weather
training. Been there a few times myself.
Like no expense spared. And just never really forget it. We're all in the dressing room because we had a reserve team game, because we were playing in a football combination with the reserve. So we were playing the likes of Swansea, Exeter. We had a reserve team game, and we were meant to all fly out after that. And basically, we played the game, and Gary come in afterwards and said, I've got some news, lads." So we're all like getting excited, thinking he's going to give us some good news or whatever. And he basically said the chairman wants to move in a different direction. Basically, his finance director, basically of the backer, must have said, I think the exact words were, "You've got a big black hole and you're filling it with money, and it's called a football club, and you need to stop." And it was just before the recession hit, and I think would have been around 2005. And Gary and his assistant basically got relieved of their duties, and everyone in the dressing room was up for a free transfer. And basically within that week, 4 of the lads went to Exeter City, who then got promoted from our league, and quite a few of the lads, Ben Smith, I think, who was one of our top players at the time, went to Hereford, and just basically split the team right up. But out of that, we a few good young lads come in, which seen the season out, and we basically already had about 45 points on the board, so we weren't going to get relegated. Now it seems like sort of unreal, but Jason Tyndall took charge because he was coming to the end of his playing career, and obviously he's a Bournemouth manager now, so it's such a small world. And then the following season, we stayed up with a really young squad, and Jason basically the chairman then left the club because of the money, and they got a backer that took over again, who really was only after the land really, and he brought in John Hollins, which was a really experienced manager, and at the time I did 3 days a week and I wasn't full time, so John wanted everybody full time, and basically that was the end of my 7th season at Weymouth, and John said there will always be a contract here, but he wouldn't guarantee me to play. And at that stage of my career, I just wanted to play. So unfortunately, with a heavy heart, I left Weymouth and went to Eastleigh for 3 seasons in the Conference South.
Okay, so that obviously there seemed like there was so much that kind of went on and things like that. And I know, you know, for Carl and Adam, I imagine they would have been following the journey at that time. So Adam, I mean, what do you remember about that time?
Well, that was a very, very dark time at that stage. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I want to ask you, Jason. How was that as a player in the club at the time? Because I remember hearing the news that everyone got put on the transfer list, and at that time, the Weymouth fans didn't know what was going on. And I know that we lost a fair few games after that, because I think we played the under-18s for a game. And I think it was either that season or I think the third season in the conference they put everyone on transfer list again, and they went and lost 9-0 to Ruston Diamonds. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, that was the following season, Adam. But
yeah,
like I said, in all of my time at Weymouth, they never failed to pay me on time. In both my stints there, never had any. There was never any dodgy dealings, anything underhand, And what I would say, like from a fan's point of view, must have been like really sad times, because I feel that because of the transfer window when Gary Hill was there, he had two new signings in the thing, and we were third with 2 games in hand. We were pushing Oxford United all the way at the time, and. It's just such a shame. I remember like a couple of the lads, was like basically in tears, because we had a not only did we have a good side, we had a real good togetherness, and sometimes you bond as a group, and that group really bonded. But like I said, that out of the ashes, some good things come out of it. Stuart Bevan. Come
great
out of
player.
nowhere, a great striker. Basically, went on to have a great career and stuff. The one big disappointment for me, and obviously looking back now, was I think that maybe Weymouth should have not only spent some of their money all on the pitch. I think they should have done some things off the pitch to have brought in greater revenue. Because obviously the Bob Lucas Stadium's a really, really lovely place to play. But the actual commercial facilities and like the attraction of bringing in money, if you like, it didn't match. Their basically their outgoings was never matching their incomings, and that's something in football that you can't do. And obviously the FA have now strictened down on it a lot. The higher up you go.
I was going to say that's something we see in football a lot. And, it's brought clubs trouble. You look at the situation with Bury and the way kind of, they've ended up falling foul to bad financial management. Do you think, especially at non-league level, do you think there could be more care in the way clubs deal with their finances, and also how the league monitors clubs with their finances?
Yeah, I've not really, to be honest, Carly, I've not really gone right into the ins and outs. What I do know is, you get your a typical example, and I'm not speaking badly. You've got your Bill Rickies from 2 seasons ago, where his name escapes me. The chap that's like he's built them an unbelievable facility now, and they've got like a 3G pitch. But he's left them, and he sort of leaves them a little bit high and dry. But fortunately for them, he's built them a stadium, so they've got like a legacy, if you like, to move to stay level and not go bankrupt. But they did pay like some like really allegedly some really large sums for National League South money, and but like fair play to the players. You can't fault anyone. People got to look after their families, and if somebody offers you a king's ransom, you're going to be mad not to take it, aren't you?
Very true. It's very true. And Carl, obviously, we haven't heard from you yet, really. And I know you're obviously a Weymouth fan. What kind of memories do you have of Jason's time at Weymouth, and what kind of do you want to find out of how the time was then, as a fan's point of view?
as a fan's point of view, I remember one of the greatest moments. Obviously, as a goalkeeper, you don't really score many goals. Jason, can you talk us through the goal you scored against Southport?
Yeah, well, basically, it was the last minute, 0-0, dour game, very windy, horrible game at Southport. My best mate in football, Trevor Chalice, passed it back to me. The centre forward shut me down. I literally just thought I just need to just connect with this and smash it downfield. One bounce, and it's done the keeper all ends up and just gone straight in. I was thinking, unbelievable, and my team being Spurs from all my sins just sticks in my mind. I thought, what am I going to do? And I thought, I'm just going to do the Jurgen Klinsmann dive, and just ran about 20 yards with all the lads chasing me and did the Klinsmann dive, and that's all that sticks in my mind, really.
I was going to ask if you celebrate. Sorry, Carl. I was going to ask him if he celebrated or not.
Yeah.
I remember rightly, that was
it was good.
If I remember rightly, that was the 89th minute, wasn't it? 1-0 win.
Yeah. It wasn't a lot of time left, and that basically sealed the game for us. Unfortunately for me, I think I might have got a little bit more publicity, but Paul Robinson scored against Watford on the same day against Weymouth, so he took the limelight a little bit.
Goalkeepers Union and all that, I guess.
Yeah, I'm quite happy for him to take the limelight and sit in the background anyway.
Brilliant. And, moving on, I mean, how do you feel? You briefly touched on it, to be fair, but do you prefer managing or did you prefer playing?
You can be, for me, you can't beat playing, and obviously I've moved to a lower level now with Bracknell. Went there as a coach under Bobby Wilkinson last year, and ended up playing 17 games, and we went unbeaten for the whole 17 games. And that for me, you just can't beat that feeling of playing and that little buzz, on a Friday, being at work, and then you think, we've got a game tomorrow, and I really look forward to that. But in saying that, this season I've played a few friendlies, but I haven't played in the league games. We've got a lad, Mark Scott, that has been outstanding. Broke his neck at Slough. If you know non-league, broke his neck at Slough about 2 seasons ago, and he's come back. He's come back with us, and he's done unbelievable. But he's a really good lad, and it's nice to have that camaraderie and the banter. And I feel that at Bracknell, we've got like I said, we've got a real togetherness and a real young side. So that for me gives me great pleasure being a coach, and also not having to make the decisions. That was the biggest thing for me. I found in myself I struggled to make the big decisions because all the players I had at Weymouth when I was manager, I really got on well with, and I found it really hard leaving them out on a Saturday or a match day. That side of management where you've got to pull the player to one side and give them an honest conversation about why you're leaving them out. And that's a bit that I really struggled with, and probably had a few sleepless nights. Not because I thought that my team selection was wrong, but because I was thinking, that lad's been to work all week, and if he's anything like me, he just wants to play on that Saturday. And telling them they were left out was like something that I didn't really enjoy whatsoever. But obviously, I moved to Bath and Chippenham in the Conference South, and you learn off different managers, and there's each manager's got a different way of leaving someone out and telling them. So I would probably still find it hard now, but I'm happy being a player coach and not the manager.
Oh, good stuff. So that's a fantastic kind of insight into obviously your time at Weymouth and Weymouth as a club. And it's, like I said, I think Weymouth is a club that a lot of people will know. They've got a fantastic non-league presence, and it's nice to see that they're on their way back up again, where they are now and how things have turned around. So I really appreciate kind of you taking your time to give us an insight in that. And it was really refreshing to kind of hear. And I think sometimes for me, I think non-league gets lost behind the Premier League and things like that. So it's real nice to kind of hear. I just feel non-league's everyday football, real people's football, where people support with so much passion. It brings a real community feel, and I think non-league something that's massive for every community, and every community needs to go and support their clubs, especially in these times now when, with COVID-19, things are a lot more difficult for clubs.
Yeah, I would definitely say that, Carly. You've got like a lot of unsung heroes behind the scenes with non-league. People that don't get paid, that do it for the love. I had two groundsmen at Weymouth that stick in my mind. The playing surface was unreal in my 3 years there, and they did it for free. And sometimes because they wanted a pitch to be good, they were actually funding some of the treatments and stuff like that. And you think, fair play to those people. They're giving up their time and a lot of it. Maybe they probably did enjoy doing it, but fair play to them. It is a credit to them. And even people doing the raffles and all different things, even the turnstiles. There's a little bit of a thankless task. If you're a supporter, you want to be watching the game. You don't want to be just doing the turnstiles for your club. But like I said, a lot of unsung heroes in non-league football, and that's a credit to people.
Yeah, for sure. Adam and Carl, I mean, before we kind of get into a little bit about, Jason's thoughts on how things are with the Premier League and obviously England and things like that, is there anything else you kind of want to know or find out about, about Weymouth and his time at Weymouth?
Well, I was going to ask, managing, I think when you were managing, I think you're pretty close up until Christmas every year, always near the playoffs. And you sort of dip down towards the end of the season, being quite unlucky on a couple of occasions. Was there anything you would have done differently in that time, or if you were given more resources?
Particularly the first season, Adam, 55 points by Christmas, unbelievable. Really pushing our local rivals, Paul, to the max, really. And just felt that we couldn't lose. Like, really, we had an unbelievable team spirit. And it was just like, if I could pinpoint, to only get 21 points in the second half of the season was absolutely gutting, to be honest. And that's a big regret. But I think that if we'd have been in that position the second season, with a little bit more managerial experience, I think I would have seen us over the line. I feel that I did have some injuries, which I was unlucky with. We had probably our star player was Chris Shepherd at the time. Went on his honeymoon and fell off of a tree swing and was out for 4 months, and different things, that conspire against you. And like you said, I had a strict budget to work to at Weymouth, and I just couldn't bring anyone in that would be able to replace him. And that for me was gutting. And also that first season, I lost my assistant, Craig Laird, who was really good and an experienced manager. So to try and find an assistant in February time was quite difficult. No fault of Craig's. He took the manager's job at Yate. So yeah, like, for me, that would probably be my biggest managerial disappointment, because I felt that we had a really good team for that level, probably another thing that season, we had Stuart Yetton, who scored 30 goals a season for 3 seasons, played in one of the League Cup game and cut his head and never really got his actual fitness back, really, in the rest of my tenure, really. And I tried to build my side around Stu. Still good friends with him now, and that, but it didn't quite happen for him in that second and third season for me. And when you've got people and a budget to work to, and you've spent a lot of your budget, it is hard to try and juggle it. And that's when I go back to saying about sometimes you, as a manager, you definitely need to be ruthless and trying to get people out. But I want to do it in the right way. And sometimes as a manager, I think that you have got to be a little bit awkward, and that little section of management didn't suit me, really.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Carl, before we move on, have you got anything that you want to ask Jason?
No, I mean the book's been unread now. It's all out in the open. It was good.
That's brilliant. So before we move on and kind of get towards the end of the show and start to finish up, again, I just want to thank our sponsors, Moss Bros, Fantastic support from them. They've also been kind enough to give you guys, the subscribers and the followers, 15% off. Unfortunately, it's not on during lockdown, but as soon as we're out of lockdown, make sure you've got your code ready to go and get your 15% off. And also a massive shout out to Ultimate Football Networks, again, doing some fantastic work in the game, bringing over 3,000 professionals together, enabling people to grow their networks and find opportunities within the professional football, non-league football, scouting industry, everything. So make sure you give them a follow. At the Scout Network is there on Insta and on Twitter, I think. But make sure you give them a follow. Fantastic people doing some fantastic work for everyone. So just wanted to give them a massive shout out. But moving on, let's talk a little bit about the Premier League. Obviously, it's not on because we've got internationals, and those who don't know, I don't know if you want to know, but I'm going to tell you the score of the England game at the moment, so mute me before I say it. But they're not doing too great against Belgium, unfortunately losing 2-0 at the moment, which is a little bit frustrating. But let's hope they manage to turn it around in the second half. So yeah, in regards to the Premier League, Jason, what teams do you think are the Premier League teams to watch this year?
Well, I'd like to say, being a Tottenham fan, is to watch Spurs. I feel that we've had quite a good start. The 2 games that they've drawn, they probably should have won. The teams have scored, like Newcastle scored the last kick of the game, and obviously thrown away a 3-0 lead at West Ham. But I feel that we've got some real attacking options now. Obviously Harry Kane, unbelievable centre forward, and we've got some players to back him up with. Gareth Bell. Holberg from Southampton, I feel that he's a really good holding midfielder. I feel they've made Mourinho's made some great additions, and it's intriguing for me. Mourinho going to Spurs. I never thought I'd see him as a Spurs manager. Be very, very interested, and I feel that the Premier League is going to be a little bit more open this year. Obviously, quite a big blow for Liverpool. Van Dijk getting injured. And I felt that the game last week, the Man City-Liverpool game, in the first half was brilliant. Liverpool really took it to them the first 20 minutes. Man City come right back into it, and really intriguing and a really good game. And basically, both teams obviously cancelled each other out in the second half, which was a bit disappointing from a neutral point of view. But yeah, I think this season the Premier League is going to be really interesting, and especially with obviously the home advantage is not going to be quite so strong, is it? Without the crowds, and we don't know when they're going to come back in. So makes it more of an open season for me this year.
Yeah, no, I agree with you for sure. And Carl, I mean, we've spoken a few times on this show about certain teams in the Premier League, and obviously we're both Arsenal fans, so our Premier League journey is always difficult at the moment, it feels like. But I mean, do you feel any underdogs will make the top 4? And if you do, which underdogs do you think will?
I'd like to say Southampton look pretty decent to me at the minute. Villa also as well, they look pretty good. I mean, they put us away, unfortunately, last week. They put Liverpool away. I mean, they've got a couple of good players in there. Wolves, I'd like to say, can maybe pull it out.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be quite open.
Yeah, I think it will. I almost feel like we almost have to put Arsenal in there sometimes as an underdog now to make the top 4.
Yeah, we are pretty much an underdog now.
Yeah, it's never easy. Adam, what about you? Do you think it's anyone different from that, or do you agree with kind of what Carl said there?
I mean, Aston Villa, I don't think they'll keep it up for the season. I don't think they make top 4. They got a great striker in Ollie Watkins, though. I watched him play last year a few times at Brentford, and a great striker. Took him into the playoffs almost single-handedly. He's a good player. I think Leeds were one of my favourites because of how they hit the ground running, but they're not consistent. Leicester, I think they're pretty much guaranteed it this year. I think they're going to learn from last year, from missing out last game of the season. But I would put Wolves up there as an outside chance, but other than that, I think it's more just Leicester, and they're not really an underdog anymore. They're quite solid in that top 6 now.
Yeah, I would agree.
But I was sticking by my statement. Spurs is definitely one of the 3 for title contenders.
Oh no! It's not what I like to hear. It's not what I like to hear. I'll be honest.
Well, they got Mourinho. If you got Mourinho,
I don't think Mourinho would be able to deal with Arsenal. To be honest, I think that's one club he would avoid for a long time. No, that's brilliant. Well, coming back to you, Jason. Like I said, the Premier League was going to be really brief. There's no games on this week, so because of international and things like that. So let's talk about non-league, because there was a non-league schedule this week. Was there any results that stood out for you?
Just trying to think of a couple now, Carly. Now you said that.
I know. I better get on Google quickly myself.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have to have a quick little look. I see that, I feel that, Aldershot, quite a big club. I think they won again yesterday. Put them in the top part. I feel that looking at the Conference South, which is a league I spend look at quite a lot because of the teams around my area, being a Bath base. I feel that Concord Rangers. Sorry, not Concord, Dorking Wanderers. I think that they are going to be right up there this season. I feel that they made the playoffs last year, and I think that their managers made some great additions.
They signed a couple of my mates actually. Funny enough, Dorking. Yeah,
I think that they made some good additions. I think they've had some good players anyway. So for me, I feel that they're going to be side. Another big win for them yesterday at home. Obviously, in that league, you've also got like your Havant and Waterlooville. A very well-run club with a backer that has backed them for quite a while. Paul Doswell lives in that region. Obviously, done really well at Sutton. Obviously, got them the game, the FA Cup game against Arsenal, and then left at the end of the season. So obviously, needed to be nearer to home because of the travel. I feel that there are things. So I think that this Conference South will be a real good title race this year. As for the main conference, like I said, would love Weymouth to stay up. Obviously Yeovil struggling a little bit, which is surprising for me, being a full-time club in that. Obviously, but like I said, you've got some big clubs in that National League, and for me, I feel that it's definitely like the fifth league, really, with most teams in that league are full-time. A club like Knox County, massive ground. Even you look at like your Stockports and that, who was in the Conference North, massive club. You look at their stadium and that, it is massive for that level.
I remember playing Stockport when they was in the league. So it's a huge club. No, that's non-league football, especially the National League now. You do kind of feel it is that extension of the EFL, don't you? With the level of clubs that are there, and the level of player that's coming through there now. So many more players are coming through the non-league system and making good careers. Jamie Vardy's one that obviously has done fantastic. He's gone from playing non-league to winning a Premier League title. You look at the England team now, how many of them have played games in non-league, whether that be on loan or come through that system. I think it's fantastic what kind of non-league football does provide.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, Carly. And that's one thing as a non-league manager you need to work hard with. Like I said, I touched on a little bit. Mark Mosley, who's now Southend's manager, was Bournemouth under 23s assistant manager last year. Had some really good loans at Weymouth, and that helps. That not only helps, your Bournemouths, because it's giving their younger players like game time at a decent level, but also it helps you because they don't expect you to pay their full wages. So obviously works within your wage budget. And when I was at Bath City, they've got a really good relationship with Bristol City, and they get a lot of their decent under 23s as well. And like I said, a lot of them do well. From my point of view, I did have one season at Dorchester, and you had the likes the season before I was there. You had the likes of Danny Ings and that trying to make their way in the game. And you look at him now and like how well he's done. It's unbelievable. Another one for me from where I live, who I actually played Sunday morning football with, was Ashley Barnes, and he ended up getting a move to Plymouth, and now he's at Burnley. It definitely is. I think that clubs now do look at non-league and it is a really good stepping stone to get yourself in the league and get yourself spotted.
No, I totally agree with you there, 100%. So we're getting closer to the end of the show. So let's finish it off with talking about England. Obviously, currently losing 2-0 at half-time at the moment. Carl, England, tell me, what do you think they need to do in terms of making changes? I heard Jamie O'Hara talking about England, saying they should be playing 4-3-3. We probably have the best or most exciting kind of front three / front five, that teams would fear in terms of, the Rashford, Grealish, Mason Mount, the list goes on. I mean, what do you think England need to do to be more of a force in the international scene?
We spoke about this a few times before. I mean, the pool we've got of players is unreal. Our attacking-minded players and our attackers are phenomenal. We've got amazing talent. Our defence lets us down a little bit. I mean, for me, I'd probably say we need to let the younger generations come through. You need to stop picking players on status and what clubs they play for, and more for who's in form, who's bagging more goals, who looks more strength in the defence position, what goalkeepers probably going to save more goals in international, not just club level. There's a lot of things you can go into. I don't think the formation's too bad. Probably could switch up a bit more attacking sense. I'd just say leave the big names out for a couple of seasons and see how the youngsters do. In the last game, it looked brilliant. Jack Grealish looks amazing ever since he's come in. He's only played a couple of games, and what a difference he's made. Saka looks good when he play on the left. There's loads of youngsters that are banging on the door. The under 23s are a brilliant team, absolutely brilliant team. Any of them can the first team. For me, it's just how are we going to do it? Who's going to take us forward? It's a difficult job being England manager. Everyone seems to fail, and they get a lot of stick. I wouldn't want to take that job personally, but someone's going to have to do it end, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I was going to say that, and I agree with a lot of points you made there. I mean, Adam, just your point of view, do you think, and this might be a little bit harsh, but do you think Southgate may be holding England back a bit? Do you think you need a bit more of an attack-minded manager?
Yeah. I mean, he's done it right. The last World Cup we went to, we had a good balance in the squad, and now I think where he's under pressure to play these players, because we've got so much young talent now. There's so many. You got 4 players in each position at the moment. Where I think he's struggling to find that balance, that transition from midfield to attack, transition from defence to midfield, that's what I wanted to ask you guys. What do you think about Declan Rice? Because I haven't seen him do anything yet, but he always seems to play. And I don't know, what was your thoughts on that?
I mean, for me, I like Declan Rice. I think he's a good young talent coming through. I think he's got a way to go in terms of establishing himself in the England team and being a real influential force within the England team. He has all the attributes to do that, without a doubt. I think what will make a difference for him is the people that play behind him and the people that play in front of him. The more consistent, the better that the players in front of him can be, the easier his job becomes, and likewise the players behind him, the more consistent and strong they are in terms of their defensive qualities, the easier his job becomes in the midfield. So he has all the attributes, but it's one of those things where it's a journey. And I think sometimes in England, if a young player breaks through and kind of do well early on, we're desperate for them to be kind of the final package right there and then. Like any footballer, it takes time to kind of understand the game fully and really hit your prime. But I think he'll be, going forward, I think long term he'll be a fantastic servant for England, and I think he'll have some fantastic games and moments for England. That's for sure.
So, do you think he needs to move to a bigger club to really hit the heights he wants to hit?
I think he does. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about playing week in, week out for England and achieving and learning, in many different ways. He's going to have a bigger challenge, so to speak. West Ham are a big club, but when we're talking about challenges, if he goes to a club like Chelsea, we're talking about playing Europa League or Champions League. You're talking about playing, with the best players in the world, playing against the best players in the world on more of a regular basis. And that's only going to accelerate his learning. So I think he does need to be challenged at a higher level. And and possibly, you know, get that move to a bigger so-called club, you know, Chelsea or I don't know, a United, or even if he went abroad and played for a Bayern Munich or something like that. But he definitely needs that challenge moving forward to make sure that he maximises what he can do and his ability.
Yeah. Fair
Can I ask, who would be your favourite number one in an England shirt?
Dean Henderson at the moment.
Dean Henderson, yeah.
Dean Henderson, yeah.
You're the keeper here. Who would yours be?
I would go with, on current form, I would go with Nick Pope. Felt that playing in that last friendly, felt that he commanded his box, and I think that that's something that a lot of modern keepers don't do. And he looked to me like a little bit of a presence. Like I said, I've seen him like come right out on the edge of the box and claim across, actually caught it, and he looks a presence. I feel that, you know, maybe he could, like, from Southgate's point of view, he could maybe bring in either Pope or Henderson. I think that a lot of these goalies are much of a muchness, and it might give Pickford that little kick up the ass that he maybe needs. You know, not that I'm saying he needs it as such. I just feel that, you know, seeing him in a couple of the Premiership games, I'm trying to think which one it was when he made a mistake. He's pushing things out. He's doing things that a keeper at that level, you wouldn't see them do, you know. And that to me says that he's maybe lacking a little bit of confidence. So I would maybe take him out and then put him back in after a couple of games, you know. But in saying that, if obviously Pope or Henderson went in and done really well, you know, it would be impossible to leave them out, you know, as far as I was concerned. But like I said, football's all about opinions, and that's just my opinion.
No, that's fantastic. Well, gents, listen, I think we're going to round it off and finish it up there. Another fantastic show. Jason, a massive thank you for coming on and spending your time with us today on the show. Really enjoyed it. Loved hearing about Weymouth and your journey as well. So I wish you all the best at Bracknell now and on the journey there. You've got a fantastic, you know, kind of journey ahead with Bracknell, and I hope it goes to plan. Yeah,
thanks, Carly, and all the best in your pursuit of the title for Brentford ladies.
Thank you.
It was lovely to have an insight on yourself as well. Thank you, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Anytime. We look forward to hopefully getting you back on again soon.
No problem. I'd love that. Thank you very much.
Good. Adam and Carl, it's been a pleasure again. Always enjoyable when we do these shows. Listen, I hope you all have a fantastic evening. Before we go, I just want to obviously say thank you to Moss Bros, our sponsor, again, for the support that they're showing us. Like, subscribe, and comment. Make sure you get following. We'd love to hear your feedback. We'd love to hear about people if you're loving the show. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow us on YouTube, Facebook. Make sure you're commenting so we know exactly how much you're enjoying the show. But listen, gents, have a wonderful evening. Thanks once again, and I shall see you all soon.
Cheers, boys.
See you soon.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye. Cheers.
Right. Bye.